Hey guys, welcome back to Pistons Talk Podcast post-game show. Hope you guys are having a great night. Don't know if you are after watching that game. Pistons were on the road tonight in Dallas, playing the Mavericks, a more healthy Mavericks team. And we're gonna get into this game, go over quarter notes, open up the show to questions and comments, overall thoughts with tonight's game. I did star a couple of comments that you guys did leave in the live chat if you're watching on YouTube right now. Um, let's get into it. So let's start off this game very early on. Dallas's plan was to just put a lot of different bodies, double Cade Cunningham, get the ball out of his hands so he isn't or wasn't, I should say, as effective. And the paint wasn't available as much as the Pistons wanted it to be in the first quarter. With Anthony Davis and PJ Washington just being in there, they did a very good job of limiting the Pistons, getting layups, mid range, all that stuff, right? Mavs do go on a 10-0 run very early on in this first quarter, and it was 18-9. Pistons had to take a timeout. JB does take a timeout. And what happened was JB decided, I'm going to run a starting lineup that consisted of Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, Isaiah Stewart, and Jalen Duren. So two bigs, Jaden Ivey and Cade and Asar. And it worked. They went on a 7-0 run. They got back within this game. Obviously, they did not win this first quarter. End of the first was 35-30, but there was a lot of good minutes out there. The Pistons were trying to match size with size, and I thought it worked, especially with as big as Anthony Davis is. Really didn't heat up until like late in the fourth and in overtime. Isaiah Stewart did a very good job of just defending him overall in this game. Going into the second, after trailing as early as 9. The Pistons went on a run, and they got back into this game in the second quarter. And then the Asar Thompson ejection happened, which it's weird. I watched a lot of different angles from the broadcast to people that were live at the game. I didn't really see that much contact with John Goble. JB Bickerstaff insisted in the post-game press conference that John Goble created the contact, pushed Asar, and that's why he was ejected. That was Asar Thompson's first ever ejection. He's not really one to be aggressive towards officials. He might disagree with the call, but I've never seen him that visibly upset with the call. But, he gets ejected very early on in the second quarter. Moments later, Cade Cunningham got attacked for arguing with an official. He clearly got fouled, shot a three-pointer. Anthony Davis hit his arm. His landing space was a little, clunky. 80 didn't step on his foot, but it probably should have been 3 free throws at the free throw line. Cade didn't get that call. Told the official I got fouled. No call. Going into halftime, Pistons were very fortunate, I thought, to keep it close. It was only 66-57 going into half. JB got a tech. For whatever reason, he didn't say a word, apparently. He was just getting Cade Cunningham away from the officials. John Goble, again, gives him a technical foul. So the Mavs start the third quarter with free throws. And what JB decided to do after Duncan Robinson got hurt was he's just going to play his hustle lineup. So it's Paul Reed, Dennis Jenkins, Marcus Sasser. And they were a very big reason why the Detroit Pistons were able to get back into this game in the second half, in my personal opinion, because the Pistons were trailing as much as 18 points. That group really came alive in the third and in the fourth. To end the third, it was 91-79, 79 Dallas still. But going into the fourth, they just really went on a run, 10-2 run to open up the fourth quarter. It was just so much defensive plays, hustle. But as we kind of go later into the fourth quarter, there was an offensive goaltending that was completely missed by the officials. They awarded Anthony Davis the basket. Stu had a chance to win this game at the free throw line. He only made one, so 110-110 with 3.4 seconds on the clock. Klay Thompson had a chance to win the game. He misses a bunny layup. but just down the stretch with this overtime game, we just could not make shots. And if you just look at the total shots, we might say, the officiating was bad. It was, but the Pistons had a lot of shot attempts and they just didn't shoot the ball well tonight. They shot under 40% from the field. I think any given night, if they're at least shooting around, their average, they win this game. They win this game. Something about in Dallas when we play them, these games just get really clunky down to the wire. But they are playing better basketball with Cooper Flag not playing point guard anymore. Nebhard playing more of the point guard role. Anthony Davis being out there. They're a completely different team. There's just I think little details in this game where we can point towards the free throw discrepancy. We can point towards a soft ejection by John Goble, but Pistons do lose this one 116-114 in OT. Wild game. I'll just say this. I am very proud of the bench guys. Marcus Sasser, Paul Reed, Jenkins, like they were able to come in this game, give the Pistons a spark, give them energy, and they were down 18. Like they could have laid down, but this team, if they're down 5, they're down 18, they still scrap within this game. But really proud of just the effort from the second unit. This bench, has been a calling card for this team. They've been very strong, coming into the games, maintaining leads, getting back in the games. We've had games recently where they scored 70 points against the Hawks. I believe they outscored the last team we played by over 25 again tonight. Like the bench is a strength of this team, and you're seeing the depth night in and night out. I do want to get into just Q&A with you guys. Open up the show, open forum. As you guys know, if this isn't your first post-game podcast with us, I do see a couple of comments from you guys. We're going to get into it. So Matt does get the first comment of today's post-game show. Says the free throw discrepancy is unacceptable. The amount of missed calls in favor of the Mavs was just terrible. Asar getting tossed is unacceptable. The NBA should be ashamed of themselves for this one. I will say the Asar ejection was weird. I thought Asar at least should have got a technical foul for getting in the official's face. Now, did he get fouled, before that? Possibly. Him and I think it was Jalen Dern. I don't remember, but it was him and a big out there just crashing the glass, trying to, score the basketball. He tries to get like a jump ball with Nebhard. He doesn't get awarded that. And then he gets called for a foul. And I think he was upset with it. And he got in John Goble's face. And I don't think he liked it. So he decided to eject him for that. I will say the Pistons are one of the teams in the NBA, and I was actually kind of surprised by this, but they're a team that gets to the free throw line quite a bit. Obviously, that did not happen tonight. There will be nights in the NBA where you just don't get a fair whistle. JB talked about it on his post-game presser with the available media tonight that John Goble made it pretty clear that, I might have the full quote in front of me. Let me pull it up before we keep talking about these officials tonight. Give me 1 second. So this is a quote from JB. He says a referee makes a comment to me night after night. That's how interactions are. That tells me the referee is coming into the game without being objective. I want to make this clear. This game is not about the referees. It was a highly contested game between two competitive teams with guys who laid it all on the line. But the lack of objectivity needs to be addressed based on what happened on the floor tonight. And he is right. Sometimes you do have officials that get, a little bit in their feelings, a little bit extra. And it's not just a Piston thing. Like I've scrolled the timeline since we did have a couple of days off. I saw Udoka the other day talk to an official saying like he felt like he was starstruck because the Rockets weren't getting the calls that they thought they deserved. I saw Chris Finch the other day, I think it was yesterday to be exact, get into Zach Zarba's ear saying you missed 2 straight calls. Like these officials this year I think we can agree, just not Pistons games. If you guys watch NBA games as a whole, fouling is up. And I don't really think NBA fans want to watch a team, go to the free throw line 40 times a game. Like, let them play physical, let them, play it out. Obviously, if it does get a little bit chippy, separate them, blow your whistle. But I think nights like tonight, it's bad for the league. It's bad for Asar Thompson to get ejected when he was clearly upset with the non-call. You can give him a technical, maybe he calms down and he doesn't get in your face. But I guess the referee felt disrespected and he felt like he got a little bit too close to him. But there will be nights where the officials just straight up don't give you the calls or the respect you deserve. I mean, I remember when we were in the rebuild, especially during the Monty year, I mean, the Pistons would just straight up not get calls. And obviously it's a completely different team, completely different coach, but like officials just have changed so much in the way that they interact with players. A lot of them don't even talk to players of why they got calls. A lot of them just walk away. They don't even explain, like, hey, I gave you a foul because you were hacking. Hey, I gave you a foul because you were reaching in. I gave you a foul because you were overplaying. Like, you don't really see too many officials nowadays actually explain why they gave you a foul. I kind of miss that. Like growing up, like there'd be officials telling like, hey, that wasn't a block. You hacked them. Like, just talk to the players, and I don't think they'll be so I guess upset with the calls. Like, I've never seen a star that upset in my life. I really haven't. He's a really meek and mild kid. Michigan made. Refs couldn't hear JB frantically calling for a timeout. I even thought Davis fouled Dern on the play. He had his arms wrapped around Dern. Apparently, JB did call a timeout. Again, the officials didn't reward him that timeout. And then Anthony Davis, very last possession of this game, gets the rebound. The Mavericks get awarded the timeout. And it was just kind of like a crazy last-minute play. This is the bang-bang play. Obviously, maybe officials didn't hear it, but, I mean, it just gets to a point where, like, when a game's that close, emotions are going to be very high. I don't even think the camera angle on the broadcast was showing JB taking a timeout. They were focused on the play, so I didn't see JB call a timeout. I'd have to go back and watch it, but it seemed like it was just more focused on Anthony Davis and Jalen Duren fighting for the ball. Red Baron has a comment about the team, and it says, I think a huge reason we continue to play in close one-score games is because our starting unit can't get it together. Our second unit has to constantly rescue us. I don't know if I can pinpoint a reason why we have so many close games this year. It could be the starters, but I also feel like there have been times where when K does rest, we do lose leads when we do have them. But as of late, the starters, the bench has stepped up for probably the last week or so. But there have been games where when K does rest, and we have Karis LeVert or Jaden Ivey or Dennis Jenkins playing the second unit, trying to lead the bench unit, we've lost leads. I can't really pinpoint why we're in so many, 1 to 2 possession games. I just don't know. I don't really know if you can blame it on the starting unit. Obviously, there have been players that aren't playing like they did last season, and I'll just say Tobias Harris isn't performing the same way as he was last year. Now, is age catching up with him? Not sure. Is his ankle still bothering? Don't know. Not making excuses for the guy, but clearly he has taken a step back in his production. And you see it on the court watching him. And it gets to the conversation. I know someone had asked it about starting Isaiah Stewart. Do you kind of get into the mindset of starting him, but do you also worry about early foul trouble? And I think that's a really good question by Joseph that asked it. I like the double big lineup with Stu and Duren, but you will run the risk of Stu getting in the foul trouble because he just plays so hard, and that's the only way he knows how to play. And I think that's a risk you have to take when you do decide to play Isaiah Stewart at power forward. But I mean, we've seen a few games this year where that double big lineup looks really good. They crash the glass, they live in the paint. Stu has shown the ability to stretch the floor. I like it. I don't really know if that's a lineup that JB wants to go to every day. I think he still likes having Tobias out there. He constantly calls him the security blanket. But I'm sure if a conversation came to Tobias saying, like, hey, we want to move with Isaiah Stewart at power forward and have you off the bench, I'm sure Tobias would welcome that. I do think that there is just a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Obviously, when we look at power forward right now, that's the one position that I think that um, fans want to upgrade. But I also think like Stu long term could be your power forward. I just don't know how soon that's going to be because he does such a good job of being a second unit center and protecting the rim. But uh, I don't know, maybe you start to explore different lineups with power forward. Um, do have a comment from Way says true bottom line, Pistons didn't shoot the ball well tonight. No, they didn't. They didn't. I mean, if you shoot the ball better than I think 38 or 39%, you probably win this game. You had way more possessions than the Mavs did. You crashed the glass. You had so many offensive rebounds in this game. If you make a few more shots, you make more free throws at the free throw line, you probably win this game. And I think when we kind of look at the losses this year, I think there's only a couple where they were out of reach. I think the Cleveland game was completely out of reach. They came back against the Bulls. They were down as much as 20, but they made it a game on opening night. But I mean, you kind of look at the losses that this team has had this season, and they've all been winnable games, which is a good sign. Like outside of the Cavs game very early on in the season, I think that um, it's a good sign for this team. I'm sure they will bounce back at home on Saturday against the Charlotte Hornets. I think that's a very winnable game. Ricky does have a question. I missed the game. What's going on with Tobias? He got locked up or something or injured. I think he's just struggling right now. There have been games where scoring the ball looks great, but as of late, he hasn't been playing his best basketball. Again, I don't know if that's just like his age catching up with him, or he's rolled his ankle a few times this year. I don't know if his ankle are bothering him. I just don't. I don't. Hopefully he's good. Detroit Red with Duncan going down. Does Ivy start now? That's a great question. Um, I don't know who's going to start at shooting guard because I don't know if Ivy is still on a minute restriction. He might start, or you might just throw Karis LeVert in the starting lineup. It'll be interesting to see going into Saturday how serious that ankle injury is. He did I think he left the game in the third quarter, if I do remember correctly. Have to keep an eye on that of how his ankle injury or his knee injury. I don't know if he rolled his ankle or bumped knees with a Mavs player, but we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that. But I'm probably going to wrap up this podcast, you guys. We're going to see you in a few hours, actually. We're doing a morning podcast at 10:30. So usually when we do our weekend content, we're going to have it Saturday, Sunday. We're doing it early on Friday. So you'll see us bright and early. We'll be talking about, probably the officials, the game, just overall thoughts with this team, possibly get into some, trade targets, trade rumors, because it is NBA trade season. I feel like every other day I see another player that may be available, may not be available. But I appreciate you guys staying up late with us for this Detroit Pistons post-game show versus the Dallas Mavericks. Again, Pistons lose this one 116-114 in overtime to the Mavs. Their next game will be on Saturday against the Charlotte Hornets that come to town at Little Caesars Arena. Again, see you guys very soon. Take care. And as always, go Pistons. Peace.